In Western trance, all that phenomenological world starts changing. A hypnotic trance is. You know you're in trance, hypnotic trance, because you have these significant phenomenological changes. I might feel detached from my body. My body might feel very hot. I may feel like my body is made of light. I may feel my body is moving on its own. I may feel different colors in my body. These would all be traditional hypnotic trance experience. So again, we see trance as this core human experience. And then through these filters that include culture, they get expressed in very different forms.
我们感觉到这个今天的访谈呢，的确帮我们扩展了一个视野，让我们了解到，催眠正在发展从一个我们想象的30-40年前那样，让一个人睡着，把他的所有的意识都调动出来进行改变的这样的一个过程，变成是无处不在的，每一件事情都是一个很好的着眼点，帮助我们发展出一个积极的人生的一种可能性。
That's the way that I'm using trance. The point still remains. There are many, many ways to use trance. If we look cross-culturally, I have been to Bali many times for what are called the Balinese trance dances. And when you see how the Balinese experience and represent trance, it's very different from Western hypnosis. If you go to Africa, I was just in Brazil last month for 3 weeks. And if you look at some of the Brazilian trance rituals, they're very different. So again, we see trance as this core human experience. And then through these filters that include culture, they get expressed in very different forms. I've often been asked, what's the difference between meditation and trance? I say in a word, culture. So you take the East Asian culture and what's considered reality, and you put trance through that, you get meditation. If you put it through a Western filter, really talks about the empirical phenomenological world. Reality is what you can taste and touch and see. In Western trance, all that phenomenological world starts changing. A hypnotic trance is. You know you're in trance, hypnotic trance, because you have these significant phenomenological changes. I might feel detached from my body. My body might feel very hot. I may feel like my body is made of light. I may feel my body is moving on its own. I may feel different colors in my body. These would all be traditional hypnotic trance experience. So what we find in a Western trance is the phenomenological world becomes an open variable. Usually when we walk around consciously, we have this fixed idea of our body. When we go into trance, our body image becomes very plastic. That allows us to make certain changes. Say somebody says, I want to lose weight, but the diets haven't worked. We would say they don't work. People have an unconscious body image. This is what my body looks like. Or if they're having trouble in their intimacy, maybe they learned from their family. In my picture, in my unconscious mind, this is what intimacy looks like. So what we do in trance is find those are all sort of like swirling. So everything that was fixed in our unconscious mind, that results in our creating our reality again and again in the same way, becomes unfixed. We realize we can create our reality in new ways.
如果在你的这样角度来看，我们怎么解释有一些人会有催眠之后的对前世的意识呢？
I generally stay away from past life memories because I just don't know. If you would follow what I'm calling a quantum field idea, that in the deepest creative unconscious, there's no fixed objects. There's sort of these swirling energies that contain possibilities. So it doesn't make sense to me, personally, I don't know, that we would have this separate history in our mind. Each life is like a dance. We play a particular piece of music, and then the larger mind just absorbs that, and we let it go and we move on to the next. And whatever was helpful in that music, progress we made in our individual life, is contributed to the evolution of the larger consciousness.
有一天，我在我的梦里面梦见了我的英语特别好，我跟一个纽约的男孩用纽约街头的这个俚语去说话，于是就让我怀疑一件事情是不是有灵魂出窍，让我去到另外一个地方去看到了。否则的话，怎么可能在我没有经历过的事情里面经历过这些呢？
我不知道。we don't know. I smile when I say that because this was Milton Erickson's favorite phrase. When a patient or a student said, I don't know, Dr. Erickson, they said, okay, now learning can occur. He was an old man in his late 70s. I was this young kid. I thought he knew everything. But probably half the time people would say, Dr. Erickson, what exactly are the limitations of using hypnosis with this type of problem? Wobujida. He would say, the longer that I work in this area, the more I realize how little I really know. Let's find out what's possible for you. And so we see that always as the gateway to important new learning. We're trying to find what would be a disciplined not knowing. But all creative people sit in the question, they're not trying to chase the answer. And this is one of the main things we're doing in trance work. We're holding the question and we're seeing what comes up to just open our mind. Then we're using the work to find a discipline so that we can sit at a high level. So what we're doing in trance is having this deep respect and curiosity about the other intelligence. This is the essence of all art and creativity. I was in Tokyo last week, and there was a man in my training who's just a fantastic painter. He draws these incredible images. And I said, well, since this is a workshop on creativity, I said, can I ask you, where do these images come from? What do you think he said? Wobujida. He said, I just try to find a good place. I receive them. They come to me. Now that's not enough for a finished product. Usually we then have to take it and use our skill to mold it, to shape it, to polish it. We try to never forget the deepest creativity is coming through us. It's not being from here. So this is a servant for what's coming from the other place.
太好了，居然在他讲课的时候，我们的摄影师被催眠最少了。
Better than the interviewer being hypnotized.
我觉得我被催眠成了另外一种状态。
You know, when you're doing good work with people, you go into a type of trance. So if we can let go of these ideas of trance as losing control or going to sleep, then we see that when people are at their best creative performance, they're in a type of trance. Everything else disappears. Feels like things are flowing. That's generative trance.
But our job as coaches is to see the best in people, to help them connect with it. If they are connected to the best of who they are, they can meet any challenge that life gives them.
我在跟教授今天在对话的时候，甚至是眼神交流的时候，我开始产生出了3个相信。第一个相信是，我相信我真的可以和所有的我身体里面和外面的生命是有关系的。
很好。
第二个相信是，我觉得我可以放下对每一种生命状态的好或者是不好的暂时的评价。第3个相信是，我可以选择我的生命状态是在这里面选取的某一种我最想成为的状态，然后呢，让我真正的和它形成一个共识，连接在一起之后呢，我真的成为了那一个我选择的样子。我相信这就是你在这次访谈给我植进去的种子，我已经被催眠了。
Maybe we're just joining together. There is, in Ireland, my ancestors are from Ireland. There is a term in Ireland, it is anam kara. So it's nice to find a friend of the soul, anam kara. When friends of the soul share tea, that's a generative trance.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.